Directing traffic, gonna go deep, has a man deep, it is! Caught for the touchdown!
Zach escapes pressure, Zach tucks in and runs. Zach Wilson's loose, Zach Wilson's running, he's got all day, he stays in bounds, Zach Wilson cuts it, Zach Wilson gets in the end zone for the touchdown! Yo, we are live here on Jets Media with the one and only Ryan Jets Talk 24/7 to recap the craziest NFL draft that I've ever been a part of, and I think Ryan could agree with that. We're going to be recapping everything that Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, the entire New York Jets organization accomplished this weekend. We're going to be talking about all the NFL media praising the Jets. What the heck? It's not just us biased Jets fans saying we won the draft. It's the entire NFL world that's saying we won the draft. Even some AFC East rivals are saying that the Jets had a phenomenal draft. This is pretty crazy. Ryan, welcome to the show. Always a pleasure having you on the stream, my man. How are you feeling? And it feels like it's Victory Monday.
Oh, this is the happiest Jet fans have been since 2010, or the happiest weekend that we've had since 2010. This is incredible. Absolutely love it. It's a great feeling.
It is an amazing feeling, and the one thing I will say, and I don't want to be that guy that puts us down to earth, but the one thing I will say is this better translate to damn wins, because I'm sick of being happy during the offseason, because it is true. We always get ahead of ourselves, but at the same time, this just feels different. Like I said at the top of the show, it's not just Jets fans feeling ecstatic about this organization. It's former NFL players, it's current NFL players, it's NFL analysts, it's NFL Network, it's ESPN, it's everybody across the world, which is what's making me, it's what's making you, it's making everybody in the chat feel like this organization finally got it right in the draft, and everything just went our way. Joe Douglas took advantage of the capital that we have, and I'm really excited to break everything down here on the stream with Ryan from Jets Talk. You had a phenomenal stream over the weekend. It was a pleasure to be on the show with you. I think that was during day 2.
That was
and
a blast.
Guys, if you are not subscribed to Jets Talk, you just hit 20K, but I'm sure you're all subscribed already. Congratulations to you, Ryan, on hitting 20K subs.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below for my guy, Ryan. And don't forget to hit that like button right now. We got 20 likes with 80 people. Smash that thumbs up button if you want to see Ryan from Jets Talk on the stream more often, because he's a great guy doing some great things over out his channel. So let's kick things off right away, Ryan. The Jets are being praised by the NFL media. What is going on? Is this praise warranted? Should we feel like this is real? Are we in a dream as Jets fans? Because every time I turn on my phone, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I turn on NFL Network, they're praising the Jets. So do you feel like they deserve this praise?
Dude, I feel like we're in Bizarro world. The media always rips on us. This can't be real life. Someone pinch me, because this is by far the best that I've been able to feel after a draft in the longest time. Like, how many years have we had to go through where you're going to turn on the draft and you have to see the clips? Oh, the Jets are on the clock. Here's all the blunders. Warren Sapp, Dan Marino, all these different names pop up, and you're just like, oh, really? Like that guy again? And they do this, and every year it just seems to be consistently, just the same thing, the same run-of-the-mill stuff. And since Joe Douglas has gotten here, the script has completely flipped, and it feels like we have adults in the room, and they're making the right decisions.
Exactly, and I want to get your thoughts on what Joe Douglas accomplished just in terms of being super aggressive, because not only did he get the guys that he wanted, but he made 2 trades, and both of those trades are sacrificing capital to get his guys, one of them being Jermaine Johnson, one of them being Breece Hall. Did you like the approach from Joe Douglas to sacrifice capital later on in the draft to make sure that he got his guys in those 2 players? Do you think that was worth it?
So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight that I've learned recently. I actually haven't even shared it on my channel yet, so this is going to be a first-time drop here.
Breaking Jets Talk news.
Right? I don't do this too often. So love both trades. It's great. You got to go up and get your guy. The Jermaine Johnson one might have been the most excited I have been during a draft The Elijah Vera Tucker one was really exciting last year, and I would say that would be a close second for me. But like knowing we needed the edge rusher, knowing Jermaine Johnson was there, knowing Karlaftis was there, you knew it was going to be the pick, and you were just hoping the Jets would find a way to trade back in, get that 5-year contract for the rookie deal. But what's cool is what I learned about the Breece Hall trade up. So it is true they were trying to go back into the first round, and it was actually to pick number 28 to the Packers because they heard that there was teams trying to trade up to pick 29, which ended up being the Patriots beating out the Seahawks for that trade up. The Seahawks took Kenneth Walker in the second round. So they were trying to move up to get Breece Hall. Luckily for the Jets, that trade did not happen. Apparently, the thought process with the Jets is they were giving up pick 38 plus the rest of their draft. They were going to go up and get Breece Hall, and they were going to just have those 4 players. That was it. And that's all they were going to do. And the Packers didn't do it because the Packers said no to us because we would not include the 2023 second round pick to go up and get into the first round. So Joe Douglas decided to say nope, and we got Breece Hall at 36 instead.
So you're telling me that Joe Douglas was willing to sacrifice the rest of the draft, no Jeremy Ruckert, no Max Mitchell, and no Michael Clemons, to ensure those 4 players in the first round to get the 5th-year options for Jermaine Johnson, Sauce Gardner, and Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. That's pretty crazy stuff right there. Thank God that didn't happen, because now we wouldn't have the Long Island native and Jeremy Ruckert on the team, who's low-key become my favorite. But that is very crazy. That goes to show you that Joe Douglas is all about getting the guys he wants, and it also tells you that he is not willing to sacrifice capital for future drafts. This year, he's okay. He burns a couple 5th-rounders and burns a couple of 4th-rounders, whatever. But when it comes to the capital from next year, that was the reason why it did not happen, correct?
Yeah, so it was the second round pick next year is the reason he didn't decide to do it. And what I find fascinating is that he was, like you said, willing to kind of forego those last 3 picks. So you knew where they wanted to value these players. And to me, I love the Jeremy Ruckert pick, but now I guess it almost changes the context of those 3 picks because of what could have potentially happened. So these are just, I look at Ruckert, Mitchell, and Clemons as like bonus picks for us in a sense.
Wow, it is, because Joe Douglas was trying to trade up to get Breece Hall, and it did not go through on Thursday night. And then Friday night comes around, and he trades up and still gets Breece Hall, but only burning a 5th-rounder instead of giving up the rest of the draft class. So that's pretty crazy stuff. Another interesting draft insight that I've talked about on this channel, and I'm sure, Ryan, you already know about it, but just for the people in the chat that do not know this, what I thought was very interesting, if Atlanta did not draft Drake London at 8 and they drafted Garrett Wilson instead, then the New York Jets would have drafted Jermaine Johnson at number 10, according to Robert Saleh. So put yourself in a timeline where we come away with Sauce Gardner and Jermaine Johnson. And then who knows what the receiver is that we get. Tell you this, it's not the best receiver in the draft in Garrett Wilson. So it's pretty crazy to see all these different scenarios. Thank you, Atlanta, for taking Drake London, because if it wasn't for you, we would not somehow come away with the craziest first round in history in Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, and Jermaine Johnson. So, Ryan, I want to get your thoughts of the first round, not even talk about Breece Hall or any other players. Like, when it comes to that first round, for the Jets to, first of all, go with Sauce Gardner at number 4. I know that you've been lost in the sauce throughout this entire process. I know that you were one person that says he is worth the 4th pick. You'd be all in on him. I know that you were hyped up on your reaction compared to Green Meat and Matt O'Leary. I was hyped up as well. Jack wasn't hyped up on my stream. And then break down Garrett Wilson and then that trade back up to for Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, so real quick, going back to your thought process of the comment that Saleh made of going, if Wilson goes 8, going Jermaine Johnson at 10, it would be my exactly what my mock draft was. I had Sauce at 4, Jermaine Johnson at 10, and I do think we would have moved back up for the receiver. Although, like you mentioned, we wouldn't have gotten the best receiver in the draft, and we wouldn't have gotten the, I don't know where we would have been able to get up if it's that same pick. You're probably looking at, who was still there at that point? Watson probably in front of the Packers, and we traded up. Oh, we would have traded up in front of the Packers. That would have been kind of interesting to see that. But getting Garrett Wilson was awesome. But let's start at number 4. The whole Sauce Gardner pick, I thought it was the right move from the beginning because of the depth of this draft class. My thought process was, if 2 edges go before us and we pass on an edge, more than likely only one other edge is going to go in the top 10. So one of either Karlaftis or Johnson would be there at number 10. And then I did like the idea of trading back into the first for a wide receiver. So when we took Sauce, I was super excited. I was like, okay, this is absolutely going to be our edge player at number 10. And then we passed on it for Garrett Wilson. I was like, oh, okay, like we get our wide receiver, like cool. I'm like on board with this, but are we going to have this excuse built in like the last few years, finding ways to not draft an edge rusher? And it just kept, the anticipation kept building and you weren't sure what was going to happen. And Jermaine Johnson keeps sliding further and further and further down. And hearing that the Jets were trying to trade up from pick 15 all the way up until pick 26 when they were finally able to make the move, it really makes me happy because I love the why these guys play compared to like how they play. Like I like how they play, but there's certain reasons like KT just kind of rubbed me the wrong way with, you know, hey, I want to set myself up for a career after sports, which is fine. But like, I want to hear you are passionate. You're a dog. Like for me, Sauce Gardner, I was listening to interviews prior to him being selected by the Jets. And it was just like, hey, whatever team winds up selecting me, I'm going to turn that culture around. And that's just the type of mentality I want to see on our team. And it's such a statement pick. You're signaling to the rest of your roster, this is the mentality. This is the caliber of player that we expect the rest of our roster to kind of emulate. And I think through all, especially the top 5 picks in this draft, the Jets really did that.
Hell yeah. Great breakdown. I feel like the first round, it tells you more about just the players on the field, but off the field, the culture that they're trying to implement here, the mindset, the swagger, the confidence, everything about it. And everybody in the chat has been correcting me. Apparently, I've been saying Bryce Hall instead of Breece Hall. That's gonna be hard. I guess I'm subconsciously just saying Bryce instead of Breece. It's Breece Hall. Breece Hall, the running back, the best running back in the draft. So let's get right into Breece Hall, actually. My apologies for saying the wrong name. I'm sure I'm going to do that again throughout the rest of the summer, most likely. So Breece Hall, Ryan, obviously that was a big shocker when the Jets selected him. Do you think it was the right move to get the number 1 running back in the draft to add to the mix of Michael Carter? Because what this does is it really makes this offensive, like offensively speaking, playmaker-wise, we are set. Running back position, wide receiver position, tight end position is the deepest it's been in quite some time. So what's your thoughts about that Breece Hall pick?
So it definitely shocked me. When I was looking at the big board for the next day, I was like, okay, Nakobe Dean's still there. I really like this. I was, been hyped on him for like a long time. And then we traded up. I was like, oh, it's got to be Nakobe Dean. Like, who else would like Houston take? Like, why are we jumping up 1 pick? Or is there another team trying to come up? Like, there's no way. And then they say Breece Hall. And I'm like, oh, like, okay. Like, I expected us to take a running back, but not in the second round. I was hoping the 3rd or 4th round. James Cook was kind of the guy I was sort of eyeing. But getting the number 1 running back in this class after you just got wide receiver 1, cornerback 1, and arguably, edge 2, 3, something along those lines is just a home run. And like you said, it creates so much firepower on this offense. We are not giving Zach Wilson any excuses to potentially fail. This is not Mark Sanchez. This is not Sam Darnold. This is not Geno Smith. This is a brand new offense. We are the deepest we've ever been at wide receiver. We're the deepest we've been at running back in a long time. And we're the deepest we've been at tight end in a very long time. So I really love where this is headed. And I think the best part about this is Breece is a 3-down back. So you could utilize him that way if you wanted to. But we're going to be splitting carries with Tevin Coleman and Michael Carter. So you won't have to really wear him out that long. Like, I think Breece is going to be that much healthier. And I shouldn't even say healthy. It's not like he's missing games, but I think he'll be able to have more energy later into games by not being the bell cow and only getting maybe 50% of the touches as opposed to like 75 or 80% of the touches. So I absolutely love this pick. Guy can catch out of the backfield. We are going to have a really scary offense. And I think these picks, in conjunction with getting Mekhi Becton back, getting Carl Lawson back, getting LaMarcus Joyner back, getting Vinny Curry back, like these are basically 4 free agents in addition to what we brought in this year that we're getting back for the first time with Robert Saleh. And I love it.
Can we just stay healthy, Ryan? I mean, listening to you, listening to all those players, just please stay healthy. If there's injuries, limited to like a couple weeks or something. No season-ending training camp injuries, please, because we, like you said, we have a whole haul coming back to this team in Mekhi Becton, in LaMarcus Joyner, in Vinny Curry, and all these other guys that missed the entire season last year. Those are basically new players that are being added to this team to go all in 2022 to make some noise. Getting back into Hall, I just want to say, like, I knew that he was great. I knew that he was a great prospect. I didn't do a lot of crazy homework on him just because I didn't really expect the Jets to really consider him. But after the Jets drafted him and after I really dug deep into Breece Hall as a prospect and what he did at Iowa State, being the 24 straight games with a rushing touchdown. I mean, he was looked at as the prodigy. I mean, I don't even know who I can compare him to in the NFL, but he's like really good. And I have a feeling he might be the most productive rookie in this upcoming season for the New York Jets. So that's my next question. Out of all the rookies, who would you say is going to have the most impactful season in year number 1 with the Jets? Not necessarily development into the future, but who do you think is going to be the most impactful player this season as a rookie? Maybe not numbers-wise, but will contribute to winning as well.
100% Breece Hall. Like that's got to be the answer, because I expect Jermaine Johnson to have some pretty good stats. I expect Sauce to struggle a little bit. I expect Garrett Wilson to struggle a little bit as they kind of figure out everything at the top end there. But like Breece Hall, running backs come in, they hit the ground running. You look at his stats the last few years, all-purpose yards, 1,100 yards his freshman year, 1,700 yards the next 2 years, 23 touchdowns each of the last 2 years. The guy's a touchdown machine. If we could have one of those seasons in New York, it would be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see this dude through a full 17-game schedule. I really think he's going to take a ton of pressure off Zach Wilson. I think the opportunity that the Jets have this year is what they wanted to have last year. They want to run the heavy tight end sets, those Big 12 personnel, run the ball, get us into like 2nd and 4 situations, and then rip the play action. And I think having Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, with the conjunction of Breece Hall and Michael Carter is going to open up the offense so much more this year. It's really exciting. And if Vegas still has the Jets as a 5-win team, I would 100% throw a bunch of money on the over. Like I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is, and I think we're absolutely going over 5 wins.
I love that. I love the confidence. And I feel like Breece Hall is going to be a player that not only Jets fans, but NFL fans are going to be targeting in fantasy drafts. I think he's going to become a player where definitely not this year, but imagine Breece Hall is a first-round pick in fantasy drafts by next year. Obviously, he needs to have a rookie season under his belt first. Can you imagine, like, we're like, oh, he's a top 7 pick? And like I'm drafting him every single year if that happens. Like I'm such a sucker with fantasy football, drafting Jets players, which is why I never win. But hey, there's a lot of players. I mean, we can draft Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore. There's so many guys out there. Even Michael Carter, I feel like will have value in PPR leagues. And who knows if Zach Wilson's going to be anything. We'll get into that. So that's my next question with you. You said that this is all on Zach Wilson. He has no more excuses, and I agree with that. So what does Zach Wilson need to do to make improvements with the surrounding cast? Because this draft and this offseason was obviously all around him. Joe Douglas got him 2 brand new tight ends in free agency, getting CJ Uzomah and Tyler Conklin, and he still gets Jeremy Ruckert. And now the tight end room is completely revamped. They would go out there and get a Pro Bowl guard in Laken Tomlinson. They go out there and get a big-time receiver in the draft in Garrett Wilson. They also get the number 1 running back in the draft in Hall. So the weapons and the protection is there. What does Zach Wilson need to do just to take a little step? Because in my opinion, Zach doesn't need to be the superstar elite quarterback right now in order for this offense to succeed. He just needs to improve and look like a quarterback at the end of the year where he's good. He's a starting quarterback in this league, and then we'll see a really good offense if that's the case.
Yeah, so for me, I completely agree with you. He doesn't have to do everything all at once, and he doesn't have to play that hero ball that kind of got him into trouble last year. And I think you start to see him sort of settle down a little bit more, understand what defenses were starting to do, understand his role in the playbook, and being able to kind of take that pressure off of him is going to be absolutely huge. In my mind, I did a video probably middle of summer last year or along this line, around this time last year, predicting what Zach Wilson's stats would be. And I kind of want to copy and paste that and put it into here. I was looking at, I extrapolated Jimmy Garoppolo's stats for a full 17-game season and Matt Ryan's stats for a full 17-game season when Kyle Shanahan just installed his offense. And that basically put Zach Wilson, if you were to think comparable sort of stats, you're looking at 63% completion percentage along those lines. You're looking for about 4,200 yards. If I get 4,000 yards from Zach Wilson, that's breaking our passing record. That's, I think, 230 yards a game or 240 yards a game. So it's really like pretty attainable. It's not crazy in today's NFL. And then if I could see, I don't know how many touchdowns I want to see him throw, but if we could somehow get a 2-to-1, like even if it's like a 20-10 touchdown to interception ratio or 25-12, something along those lines where he cuts back on the turnovers, I think that's a home run win. And then really not causing the turnovers and playing within the system. Like, even if he's not scoring, but he's formulating a lot of long drives, you're eating up clock, you're scoring touchdowns at the end of drives. And I want to just see our little Jets logo in the hunt in December. We don't have to make the playoffs, but I just want to know we're playing some type of competitive football deep into the season. And I think that's exactly where Zach Wilson could take the next step.
Very well said. I feel like Zach Wilson has a really good opportunity with all the playmakers around him. Limit the mistakes, play within the structure of the offense, but also don't be afraid to be a baller like he was at BYU. And we all know that he has the physical talent to be a quarterback. I mean, we saw it at BYU. He has the arm. He has the athleticism. He has the smarts. It's just a matter if he can be making the right decisions. I think that's what's going to really determine Zach Wilson's future in this league. Guys, everyone listen to Alpha. Everyone smash that thumbs up button. Let's get to over 100 likes if you're enjoying the show with Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7. We appreciate everybody tuning into the show. It's been a lot of fun getting Ryan on here. So, Ryan, another prospect that we did not really talk about yet is Jeremy Ruckert, the Long Island native. He went to high school 15, 20 minutes from me. He's a player that I've been following a lot. I said going into this draft, I want one of Trey McBride or Jeremy Ruckert. Those are my two draft crushes for a long time. When we signed Uzama and we signed Conklin, I kind of felt like, all right, maybe we're not going to get one of McBride or Ruckert anymore because of those two tight ends. But Douglas still wanted to get the guy that's the future of the team, which is why I absolutely love this pick. Because some people were like, oh, we don't need a tight end. We need linebacker. We need safety. Why are we going tight end right now? Well, the truth is, in my opinion, we do need a tight end for the future. Conklin and Uzama are going to be good pieces this year and maybe next year. We could get out of their contract after 2 years. Ruckert is that player that's going to be developing behind those two that can eventually become the tight end number one in the future, because Ruckert is a player that is all about run blocking. That's what he's all about. He was never able to get those looks at Ohio State because all the weapons around you. When he does get those looks, he's making one-handed snags. He just looks like the all-around tight end that is a perfect piece to develop for the long term. So what's your thoughts of Jeremy Ruckert? Did you like the pick at the time? Did you think it was good value, or would you rather the Jets go somewhere else on the defensive side of the ball?
So I was kind of thinking they would go defense there. I wasn't really anticipating Ruckert, but when they said Ruckert, I was really excited. It's one of those players that Jet fans have been mocking to us basically since we saw his dad post the picture of him with the Jets tattoo on the side of his face and lobbying for the Jets to take him, like back in, what was that, January or February? It was like early on in this whole process. We get him on our Senior Bowl team where, we get to see him. His grandfather passes away, so he doesn't actually play in the game. And then to finally get him and have him on the roster, he could be that next Wayne Corbett for Jet fans. Like, I know growing up, I was Wayne Corbett in the backyard catching passes from my dad, and seeing this kid's dream come true, playing for his hometown favorite team, and watching the dad's reaction. You could see the tears welling up in his eyes as he was just screaming and excited. You see all the family wearing Jets gear prior to him being selected. It felt really good. And if there was one pick that Jet fans, I think, wanted, it was can we find a way to get this kid on the team? Because he's always going to try and play hard for this team. He's going to put everything he has into it. And you look at how he performed in college. He was 5th or 6th in the pecking order in terms of targets. But when he did get those looks, he really performed. And like you said, we're getting to a point where he's going to be able to learn behind Uzama and Conklin. And this is where you want to be. Ideally next year, you don't really want to have your rookies starting. Maybe your first-round pick or your second-round pick, sure. But ideally, you want to give guys a year, 2 years, develop, and then they just come in and they impact as soon as you lose your free agent. So that way you're kind of replenishing the well each time. So I love this selection. I think it's a lot of fun for Jet fans.
And it's also good depth even for this year because, we're trying to run a lot of 12 personnel, which requires 2 tight ends. And we have 2 tight ends. But what if one of them goes down? All of a sudden we have Wesco or Yaboa, who's an undrafted guy who I kind of like, but I don't really, I'm not going to rely on him too much. So what this does is it gives Ruckert an opportunity where, sorry to break the news, but it's likely that one of those two might get nicked up for a game or might get a little banged up with Conklin and Uzama, and Ruckert's going to fill in and be a starter this year for the Jets. And that's really what the Jets are trying to do in what Joe Douglas would say is add quality depth. That's exactly what they did. So, Ryan, what's your thoughts about the final 2 picks for the New York Jets in Max Mitchell and Michael Clemons? In the 4th round, we decided to round out the draft with the trenches on both sides of the ball, getting a player that could play all over the offensive line, and Max Mitchell could play left tackle, right tackle. Douglas mentioned briefly that he's been experimenting inside at guard and even taking some snaps at center. And then Michael Clemons, my opinion on him is Joe Douglas said to Robert Saleh, okay, I'll let you make a draft pick for us. Okay, I did all the work. I'll let you get on the phone. I'll let you make this pick. And Robert Saleh was the reason why Michael Clemons is a New York Jet, because if you watch his tape, that just screams violent pass rush, which is what this system is all about. And if they can unlock that potential, I feel like that would be really fun to watch. So what's your thoughts about those two players in Mitchell and Clemons?
So now that you say that, it's kind of triggering something in my head. So now if you factor in that trade up and the Jets were kind of like gonna throw away those picks potentially and go get Breece Hall in the first, now you think, okay, the Jet fans got their pick in Ruckert, Saleh got his pick in Clemons, and Douglas got his pick in Mitchell. So it's really cool across the board. I love Mitchell. I think it's a great swing. I didn't know who he was when we drafted him. It did not, I had no idea who this guy was, but I like developmental tackle. I think it was a really smart move at that point in the draft. You saw how we needed depth, and I've been saying all offseason, Joe Douglas, I don't want him to spend an early pick on offensive linemen because his scouting prowess should be able to hit on mid-round picks to late-round offensive linemen, and that's kind of what you're seeing. You're seeing Douglas get a guy that he believes in that could really fill in. Maybe after Fant leaves after this year, if a contract doesn't get worked out, can step in if he has to in case one of our guys goes down. And then the same thing with Robert Saleh on the other side of the ball. He's, linebacker, defensive line. These are his areas of expertise. And when you bring in someone like Clemons, the guy's awesome. I mean, you look at some of the speed moves, the spin that he incorporates into it, or the bull rush and the throwing down of the tackle's arms. This guy's a violent player, and it's going to be really fun to watch him in a rotation. So this defensive line, literally everywhere across our team is deep. The only areas that are not deep are linebacker and safety, and that's kind of where I was hoping we'd go with some of these later round picks. But I think that just shows confidence in the Jets, whether that's signing some free agents afterwards or faith in the guys that are already on the roster at those two different positions. But yeah, like you said, these picks were really good value picks later on in the draft, and I think they're going to be key contributors, or at least depth contributors, this year and moving forward.
So to wrap everything up, Ryan, I know that you made a video on this already, and so did I, but give us your grade for the draft. You're unbiased. I don't want you to give out A's just because you want, Ryan, because that's what I did, and I'm getting called biased. So in all honesty, give me your full draft grade in 2022. If you did this as a mock draft, right, before the draft, think of it that way, and you saw this on Twitter, would you be happy with it? Would you be satisfied? Would you be excited? Would you think it's unrealistic? What is your thoughts? Give me your full 2022 New York Jets draft grade.
Dude, my full class, it's an easy home run A+. I know there's a bias, but dude, you listen to all the media outlets. You listen to every ESPN analyst, and I'm not a big ESPN guy, but when the Jets do something really good and everyone else is talking about it, they make a living on ripping on the New York Jets. And the Jets, this is the first time any team in the history of the draft drafted 3 players with above a 92 overall draft grade in one first round. And the Jets did it this year. This is an all-time great draft across the board. Dude, not even just an all-time Jets, great Jets draft. This is an all-time great draft. That's what I'm trying to get at. So this is easily an A+ for me. I love the picks, especially the top 5. Anything we get out of, say Ruckert, Mitchell, and Clemons this year is gravy to me, or should I say sauce to me? I absolutely love this class. I'm so happy to be a Jet fan right now.
Right? It just feels like we needed a draft like this where the entire world is giving us praise in order for us to finally get a taste of what it's like to win on Sundays. And I'm really excited to see what happens. Guys, if you enjoyed the stream, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button so we can get Ryan on the show once again. So if you guys run up those like buttons, I know that you guys like Ryan. Because if you don't like the video, then why would I get Ryan back on here? Because that means no one really likes Ryan on the show. But in all seriousness, I appreciate Ryan always tuning into the show. Keep up the great work over on Jets Talk. You got a stream at 8 o'clock. Everyone go tune into Ryan's show at 8. Anything you'd like to say before we close things out?
Yeah, thanks again for having me on. I love coming on here. It's always fun talking Jets with you. I'll be live 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock for my live call-in show, so I really want to hear all your thoughts. If you want to vent or if you want to, let me know how excited you are about everything that went on this past weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. And thanks again, Richie.
Yeah, always a pleasure having you on, my man. I just dropped my rookie hype video on YouTube. If you guys want to get a little feeling of running through a brick wall, that's easily my favorite videos I get to create every single year. That was the first video I ever started editing as a child, is just random highlight videos and stuff. So every year I take pride in making those rookie hype videos. So make sure you guys check that out. And let me know your thoughts in the comments on that video. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And guys, that does it for this one. We appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in. Again, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Ryan's channel down below. And a reminder, the New York Jets have won the draft, and we're about to win the season this upcoming year. Let's go, Jets.